Joining me today is a self-proclaimed football-obsessed Argentinian American, 2021 Pura Belpre Young Adult Author Medal-winning author. Her work includes picture books, middle grade, young adult, and adult romance fiction. And the book we are talking about today, Furia, is a Reese Witherspoon and Hello Sunshine Book Club YA pick. Jamile Said Mendez, welcome to The Middle.
Thank you so much, Ashley. It's such a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yes, I'm so excited. Okay, so first talk about Furia without giving too much away.
Okay, so my go-to blurb is Furia is about Camila Hassan, a 17-year-old girl from Rosario, Argentina. Rosario is a city obsessed with soccer. It's where Leo Messi and a lot of other soccer stars were born. And she loves soccer so much. She wants to become a professional soccer player. Unfortunately, in Argentina, there's not a lot of support for girls and women's soccer. And she's amazing on the pitch. And she has an opportunity to be seen by scouts from the US, and she has to play in secret because her family doesn't support her passion. And when she gets a big break, a love from her past comes back and puts even a greater obstacle in her journey. But it's a story of my heart. It contains all the things I love from Argentina, family and friends, and also all the other things that unfortunately are a reality, such as violence against women and discrimination in sports still.
Well, it's so good. And anyone who has not read it yet absolutely should. So, what happened? And I mean, Reese Witherspoon agrees. So, what happened when you found out that it was a Reese Book Club pick, and how did that change basically everything about the release of the book?
Oh my goodness. I heard about Reese picking it for her book club in June. So 3 months before the book came out. The original release date had been September 29th. And when I heard the news, of course, I was floored because up until then, she didn't have a YA book club yet. And so all these things are happening in the background. Of course, I couldn't tell anybody. And I had been nervous about the book coming out for several reasons. One of them was because it was just, during the pandemic. It was my second book to come out in the pandemic. And we, with my team, we had planned on a book tour and so many things that suddenly were canceled. Everything became virtual. And a lot of other authors agree that the support and the reach have not been the same as if I had gone on a traditional tour. But at the same time, these virtual events and then speaking it for the book club made it so that a lot more people were aware of Furia. September is traditionally a Hispanic Heritage Month in the United States. So we moved the date to September 15th, which coincided with the beginning of a Hispanic Heritage Month and the day that Reese announced it. And so the support was overwhelming and beautiful. And it gave my book the wings to get to places that it could have never reached before. And so although I was still sad that I couldn't see readers face to face, I had the opportunity to talk to readers all over the world, and technology made it possible for me to have this relationship with people who didn't have the access to go to the live events. And so it's been amazing. I felt like my book was representing Argentina all of a sudden, hearing from Argentines from all over the world. Like literally, I heard from people in Saudi Arabia, and I mean, every country that you can think of, there was at least one person from Argentina who was rooting for the book. And so it was incredible. And I am so grateful that because of this boost, my book was able to maybe shine a little brighter than it would have if it hadn't had this chance.
I love that. Congratulations. It's all
Thank
just
you.
so exciting. You are also a mom to 5 kids, 2 dogs, and a cat. So
Yes.
when do you write? And are your children avid readers?
Well, there are several parts to that question.
Yeah.
So I write when my children were very little. I would write when they were taking naps or at night. My husband had a very demanding job that required him to travel for long periods of time. So I was on my own for sometimes weeks at a time. And so my nap times and night times were sacred. But then when I became a professional writer, that I couldn't just wait until my kids were asleep, because as they grew older, that happened even less and less.
Right.
I just had to have a schedule. And I did an MFA, Masters of Fine Arts, before I had my first book contract. And that was a perfect practice time for them to realize that I was so serious about my writing, and that my writing was my sacred time, like it was for them with school. So I wrote a lot when they were in school. And I always try to make a point to be done by the time they were home, so that I could still be a mom. And they're very active in their sports and activities, and I wanted still to be part of that. And so we would do homework together, and I would work on my edits for my books while they were doing homework. During the summers, or when or last year, when they were all home for a long period of time, it was a little hard. But little by little, we made our schedules work again. And sometimes when I have edits due and I can't be late, because it's like a snowball effect. If I'm late, then the book can be printed and can be published when it's supposed to. So I am very conscientious about that, and they are very supportive. And sometimes, like these last couple of weeks, when I don't have, I'm still waiting on notes for 3 projects from my editors.
Okay.
That's when we have more fun, and we do activities as a family. As far as reading, they have all been surrounded by books their whole lives. So especially my oldest son read all the Harry Potters by the time he was 7. Wow. And he was just obsessed with the books. My second child, who's a girl, she loved comic books from a very early age. Okay. And before comic books and before graphic novels became this big boom that they are now. But the ones that she found when she was in 2nd grade were the Baby Mouse series. And she loved those. And all of my children have been obsessed with stories since they were little. I read to them every night still, even to the teenagers. We still read picture books. And maybe because they've seen me read, because before being a writer, I've always been an avid reader. They just picked up the habit. And the most fun part of being a writer mom is to see my kids create their own stories. My youngest is 9, and he loves the Dogman books. And lately we've been obsessed with maybe Marisol Rainey by Erin and Chada Kelly. And so he makes his own little books with his illustrations, and he has story ideas all the time that he shares with me. Sometimes we take the dogs on walks and he'll start with what if, and then he comes home and writes it down. So they're a big inspiration. And I think as they become inspired by me and my love of books and stories, they inspire me too, because a lot of my stories, even though they're not about my children, the things that I see them go through, or the things that I see their friends go through, sometimes a little snippet of dialogue that I hear in the car during carpool that makes me laugh, that will make it into a book. And sometimes they know that, and they will say, "Mom, you cannot put this in a book."
They're already on to you.
They already know. And so I'm like, okay, this is just too good to waste. I'll change it enough that even you won't recognize it. So sometimes I even just, if I'm not allowed to keep a dialogue or a certain situation, I change it enough that I keep the essence of it, or I try to remember what it inspired in me to add that to a story.
That's awesome. You are truly the example that women can do it all. So keep doing it all. I love it.
Thank you. And that is so true. But sometimes we cannot do it all at once.
Right.
And we have to be patient with ourselves
or
and with
alone.
our families. Yes, or alone. Exactly. And I say that when they were little, I was by myself at long stretches of time. And as they grew older, I had a lot of help. I had people that supported me, family members that rallied so that I could go on my trips to promote my books, or when I was doing my MFA, go on my residency. So it takes a whole village to raise children, to raise a writer, and to write a book.
So tell me a little bit about Las Musas.
Oh my goodness, I could talk about this topic that I'm so passionate about for hours. Las Musas was born a few years ago when a friend of mine, Aida Salazar, had this idea to create a marketing community. In the we both debuted, our books came out in 2018. in January. And so that is a very hard time of the year because of the holidays. So many titles are lost in the excitement of the holidays. And so there is a tradition in the publishing community that the authors that have a debut in one particular year, they will form a group and support each other. And we had both been left out of our debut groups because we never made the cut to join. And also, as Latina authors, we had heard so many times that our writing was wonderful, that the stories were beautiful, but a certain publishing house already had a Latina author, even if that person was from a completely different background as ours, or even if their stories were completely different. So we decided that instead of pitting our stories against each other, like we are the Latina book of 2018, we would join forces. So at the time, when we formed Las Musas, there were 4 or 5 of us, and we just got together and we started pitching ourselves in a group for conferences that we could go and talk and show the Latina experience is more than just one voice and one aspect and one story. And now there are so many Musas that I don't even know all of their names. And today 2 new members join our group, and every week it makes me so happy to see the announcements for new books and to see that there are so many Latina writers whose stories are being shared with the world, and it's not the one Latina story that comes out a year and that's it. There are so many of us contributing to this dialogue of how to be, a Latina person is not a unique experience to one identity, but we contain multitudes. So it gave us the opportunity to showcase that in our differences we're stronger when we join each other. And also same thing, that there's nothing we can do on our own, that we need a community behind us. So in Las Musas, I found a community of friends, and we support each other. We cheer each other on when things are hard. And sometimes we get together for workshops or retreats. The last time was in February of 2020, before the pandemic started. So I can't wait until we can get together again. But now we have a podcast and a mentoring program, which is my favorite part of our program, how it's so hard to break through in the industry. So I wish that I had somebody to guide me when I was starting out so many years ago. And now you can't turn back time, but you can pay it forward. And so that's been one of the most fun things for me to do, mentoring aspiring writers, not only who live in the US, but who live in other places of the world. Last year, I had the opportunity to work with an author illustrator from Mexico City, and it was amazing to see her desire to share her story. And there's such a wealth of stories and talent, and I'm just excited for the things to come from this group.
Oh, I love that you're doing all of that. And thank you for you have such a positive energy and such a light about you. So thank you for spreading that. It's wonderful. What are you currently reading?
Oh my goodness, I am reading so many things, but so maybe Marisol Rainey, that I'm reading aloud to my son every night. We're halfway through. It's a darling story about a Philippine American girl who's afraid to climb the tree in her backyard. She names everything, so she named the tree Pepina, and so she is adorable. It's a younger chapter book. It's I think it's a series, so I'm excited for my son to keep growing with Marisol as she goes on adventures. And I'm also sometimes during my times to rest in writing or reading actively YA, I go back to classics that I didn't know before, because I didn't grow up in the United States, and the literature that I read when I was younger was very different from what was the canon here in the United States. So I didn't know Octavia Butler until just a few years ago. Actually, I read the first book by her, Kindred, when I was doing my master's. So I'm going back little by little, reading her work. And I just read a book called The Wild Seed. It's an adult speculative fiction, but it's just fascinating. And Octavia Butler was the mother of science fiction and fantasy, and I'm just amazed by her mind and the things that she created. I had told myself I'm only going to read the first book of her trilogy, and of course, there was a snippet chapter for the second one, and I got hooked. And I said, okay, today I get the second one. Okay, I continue going with the story.
I love it. Well, I am so excited to see all that's coming. You said you had 3 books in the works right now?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm working on my middle grade, which is the first book in my horse country series. It's called Can't Be Tamed. I'm working on the second one, and we haven't revealed the title yet, but I'm waiting for notes on the second round of revisions from my editor on that. Also, I'm working on my second YA from Algonquin, and there's not a ton I can say about that, except that it's also set in Argentina, but a very different time period from Furia. And you will see some characters that will crisscross, but it's like 30 years in the past. So it was my first time writing historical, because now even the 70s are historical fiction. So, and I'm working on my first romance for Kensington Publishing. It's called Twice the Quinceañera, and it's about a woman whose wedding gets canceled. Her fiance breaks up with her. So instead of canceling everything, she decides to throw herself a double quinceañera for her 30th party. And of course, with all the family coming from all over the world, that's perfect grounds for all kinds of drama. So I've been having fun with all these 3 different age groups that give me make me excited for books in a different way.
You're a busy woman, and we are grateful for that. So everyone follow Shamile on Instagram, get all of the books, and thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you. This has been a pleasure.